in the Milky Way galaxy.
No way.
No!
I thought it was a Snickers galaxy.
It's an uncommon fact.
You guys settle down, okay?
Within this galaxy, we live in the solar interstellar neighborhood.
Which is a bad neighborhood.
Within that, we have the solar system, and then we have Earth. And on the surface of this Earth, we have the Eastern Hemisphere. And in this little tiny tucked away corner of the Eastern Hemisphere, we have this chain of islands south of Japan, between Japan and China. These are Okinawa and the Ryukyu Islands. And they are pretty damn important. It's this chain right here, just in case you couldn't get it from the last picture. And the most important are these three islands, of which the most important of those is obviously Okinawa. It's the one we hear about the most. And
Where you can learn the art of drum.
it's true. The Ryukyu name actually comes from Chinese. It doesn't come from Japanese. And it translates to something kind of like lustrous dragon, which is pretty badass, considering that we have no idea where the fuck the name Okinawa came from. So, yeah. What most people didn't know is it was the center of a pretty vibrant kingdom for a long time. It was actually divided into three kingdoms, of which this one, Chuzan, was the most powerful. And after a couple of decades of fighting, they eventually conquered the other two and gained kingship and proceeded to court favor with China. Now, they are pretty much right in between China and Japan, but at this time, China was the more powerful country. So they were instantly like, we love China more than you. And so what happened is the emperor at the time, this is during the Ming Dynasty, he decided, well, they have what we need. They trade with Japan, they trade with the Philippines. So he sent a bunch of merchants to go and live on Okinawa. And they're the predecessors to a lot of the Okinawans who live there today. And for a long time, the people on the island were living pretty large. They had trade coming in from all parts of the world. It was a great place to be. Plus, they were pretty well defended. There were fortresses all over the islands. And the islands aren't all that big, so this was a pretty intimidating target. So because of all this power and influence that they wielded, one of the shoguns decided, I'm going to seek their aid in an invasion of Korea. So at the time, the ruler decided, that is the stupidest idea I have ever heard, so no. So they went on with the invasion anyways and got kind of mixed results, but they never forgot that they were turned down for help. So what the Japanese did is eventually a later shogun sent the Shimazu clan after them. And they actually took over pretty quickly. And one of the first things that they did was they banned the commoners from owning or carrying swords. Now, them being the badass population that they were, they proceeded to invent karate. So, yeah.
Is that Chuck Norris?
I have no idea.
I see
who
that
is.
silhouette, yeah.
It is now.
It is now. So, aside from that, things tended to go pretty well for the islands. They were eventually reincorporated into Japan as their own prefecture, and things were going pretty smoothly until that whole World War II episode. So, after that was over, the US military came into possession of pretty much all the land on the island. And there have been some issues with that. The people generally don't like the soldiers. They think they're rude. They have a very intense cultural disconnect between the natives and the Americans on the island. And there's kind of a lingering issue of storing toxic waste from the bases. Nobody really knows where it ends up. All that we know is that every once in a while there's an outbreak of a mysterious disease, and the military is just like, yeah, we totally didn't cause that. But aside from these pretty small problems, the rest has been pretty good. Yes, it's really isolated. Like, I'm talking about maybe 2 cases every decade or so. So it's not all that bad. And the influx of Americans has brought tons of tourism. The islands are beautiful, and people have only been recently discovering this. So there are now resorts all over these island chains, and people are making so much money they don't know what to do with it. Pretty literally, they have people whose job it is at these banks to solely sort through all the money that people are bringing in. It's pretty ridiculous. So,
As long as you can keep some of it.
moving on. News for this week, I have very little because I have been only focused on one thing and one thing only. New Pokemon! So I've been so focused on preparing for this that my reaction is just like, I cannot think of anything else right now, so that's all the news I really have.
Why, you're not going to talk about any Mega Evolutions? Come on.
Not even.
No.
Not even. I'm too busy prepping my team. So, I do, however, still have the weird thing of the week for this week. And this is a special edition called the I Swear It's Not What It Looks Like edition. So,
Wow, I never saw that.
Wow.
so, what does this look like? Even worse, it gets
Couple.
used like this.
My argument's valid.
It's a trick, guys. It is actually a wrinkle therapy.
Wow.
Whatever you say.
So, what you were supposed to do is you were supposed to put this thing that gives you fish lips in your mouth and just constantly make opening and closing motions. And what that is supposed to do is it's supposed to tighten the muscles around your face, thus tightening your skin and getting rid of your wrinkles. I have no idea whether it works, and I'm not about to find out. So to this, I just say. So, that's it for this week.